모나코 국제대학교 필 클라우스 교수께서 고객 경험의 미래 초연결 세상에서의 혁신 전략이라는 주제로 강연을 해 주시겠습니다. 힘찬 박수 부탁드립니다.
Thank you. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. How are we doing? Okay. What enthusiasm I feel here. But I guess we all had a very rough night, didn't we? Yeah. But hey, things move on. I had a rough night too, but let's talk about something. This morning and the early afternoon, people talked all about resources, capabilities, organizations from the inside out. But let me challenge that view. I always say it's important, but let's be very clear. What is really the most important thing for you and your business? The one thing you cannot live without. You can have some resources, some capabilities, but there's one thing you cannot survive without. The number one reason for revenues, sales, and profitability, which are your customers, of course. So while everybody else was looking inside out, which is a good approach, I believe it might be more beneficial to look outside in. So today we talk about the customer experience. And why the customer experience? Because the customer experience, what makes your customers come back to you or go somewhere else. This is how consumers make decisions, how they experience the interactions with you. So short agenda. Oh, by the way, why don't we have it one by one? PowerPoint? Never mind. So we have the introduction. Then we talk about challenges and opportunities. I share some best practice. You know, people always love best practice and case studies. But let's be quite honest, if it's best practice, you're always chasing it. You're not the first one. So what we need and we are looking at is next practice instead. And then we summarize and synthesize it to give you some key takeaways. So let me introduce myself a little bit so you know with whom you're dealing with. I come from Monaco, so I'm a little bit biased, forgive me. But the important thing is I'm seen as one of the leading customer experience strategists. So I have my foot in both areas, meaning academia, science, hardcore evidence-based, and I've been a former manager. So you heard a lot of scholars today, colleagues of mine, and some of you might think, academics tell you things that you already know in a language you can hardly understand. You know? And we want to work against that. So by looking at this, what I want to discuss with you is from our practice. So we work with companies in improving their customer experience, their programs, and most important, their profitability. When you hear customer experience, people always think huffy-puffy, emotions, all the things that comes with it. But customer experience is one thing, to let your customers buy more and more often from you versus the competition. It's pretty straightforward, you know. You cannot miss it. So in a way, when we look at artificial intelligence, today everything was about artificial intelligence. You know, you probably heard every single point that there is to know about artificial intelligence. But I believe it has challenges and opportunities. It's the way you look at it. You know, some said you should do it this way, some said you should do it the other way. Did it help you? Or you're more confused even? You're like, oh, which way should I go now? And I believe the easiest way to go, rather than what can I do, see what AI can do for your customer. Because without them, no business. Looking at this, what are the challenges? And again, that must be a PDF. I would like to have it one by one. Can you change that or not? I don't know. So, is customer experience the emperor's new clothes? Do you know the fairy tale of the emperor's new clothes? Anyone? No one? It's a European fairy tale about conformity, meaning if everybody thinks it's a great thing to do, everybody should be doing it. Think about customer experience. Do you have a smartphone? Yeah. Do you have applications on there? How many? Many? How many of them are you using frequently? Less? How many of them are you using frequently and they really deliver what you want? Even less? So in a way, when we take that as an example, as a business you say, everybody has an app, so we should have one too. But look at your smartphone. Most of the apps destroy your experience and pretty much let you say, nah, probably I should do something else. So we should focus on what's good. And let's be quite honest. Customer experience is the number one strategic priority for business, says the CEOs of the leading companies. Now my question is, do you practice what you preach? So we do a long-term adjustment of customer experience managers, what they are doing and how important it is. And we found out customer experience is important is elastic. You know elasticity? You know when you take a rubber, how long can I go before it snaps? Make sense? So we know customer experience was one time hot, and now it gets a little bit cold. In particular, when you're under pressure, financial pressure. The first thing that gets cut is the customer experience. Now, can you explain to me, if this is the most important thing, why people buy from you versus the competition, why is the first thing that you're going to cut? Makes very little sense. Because customer experience managers are obsessed with tools, toys, and technologies. And AI, is it another tool, another toy, another technology? How are you actually going to use it? And one thing I want to highlight is 9 out of 10 of all customer experience initiatives fail. Let that sink in for a moment. 9 out of 10. Nothing. So are you 1 out of 10? Or you're one of the 9? Because you're one of the 9, it's clearly that you're not very keen about implementing CX again. Make sense? And do you know the number one reason why customer experience fails? Anyone? Come on, guys, a little bit interactivity. I know it's late in the afternoon, but I know the coffee is the most popular item out there. So come on, tell me, what do you think it is? Managers. Come on, you're all managers, you should know. What are you obsessed by? Remember Peter Drucker? Only what gets measured gets managed. Correct? So how do you measure the customer experience? You measure customer satisfaction, which has no correlation to what people are actually going to do. Who of you measures Net Promoter Score? Raise your hands. Net Promoter Score, which it asks on a scale from 1 to 10, how likely you are that you recommend. Come on, offenders, raise your hand. Don't be shy. Oh, you're all shy. You're like, yeah, I don't tell you. But I know you do, so don't tell me you don't. NPS doesn't work, because when you tell somebody, yes, I will recommend, how often did you actually recommend? Anytime? Anytime at all? You know, it's like, do you know New Year's resolutions? 31st of December, clock strikes 12, you take a glass of champagne, and you say, oh, I'm going to be like this to my partner, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. This is a promise to yourself. Now look back, how many of them are still active? Get my point? There's a big difference of what people say they do and what they actually do. So if you chase what they say they are doing, you might go wrong. And this is why linking customer experience to profitability is so tough, because you measure things that do not lead to profitability. So you go back to the board and say, everybody loves us, everybody will recommend us, but no one does. Oh, duh. So does AI help you there, or does it make it worse? Because is it the savior, or is it actually the devil? Well, We always look at delivering research that delivers insight. I work with a lot of companies, and what we are after is empirical evidence, scientific evidence that's unbiased. We have no agenda. We always say, don't kill the messenger. We're just going to tell you the truth. So by looking at this, we're going to go to some examples. Remember best practice, how you can actually use AI to your benefit. Now you all know this car, don't you? The prancing stallion, what is it? Which car is it? Ferrari, of course it's a Ferrari. You know, from the land where the sports cars are actually sports cars. I'm not messing with you here. So when we look at it, Ferrari, in a project, did something very interesting. They said technology in the car manufacturing industry is already in our blood. We're using it day in, day out. Think about Kia, Hyundai, you know, your companies. Think about the new electric cars, EV3, EV9s, they're taking over the market. So you use that. So using AI to make it better is the next logical step. Think about increasing safety, performance, handling, autonomous driving, make it easier for people to drive their car in a relaxed way. Because, trust me, people think the traffic in Seoul is bad. Come to Monaco or come to Italy, then you see what traffic is. You know, this is very calm. So you have also think about it. The car is like a driving computer. You have all the real-time data, what people are doing, how they are doing it, when they are doing it, how the car reacts to it, every data that you can have. And there are always what we call 3 customer experience stages, which is everything that happens before the purchase, everything during the purchase, and everything after the purchase. Now, traditionally, what do companies focus on? Before, during, or after? Which one is it, according to you? Come on. Before? Who is for before? Anyone? No? During or after? After. Clearly, it's when you start using things. Buying doesn't do you any good. You have to use things. Value is in using things. But companies are obsessed with what? Brand communication and great showrooms. Then you drive the car, and what happens afterwards? Service doesn't add up. Everything is not the way it's supposed to be. You buy the car once in a showroom. You drive it on average for 3 years. What do you think is more important? But Ferrari said, okay, we're pretty good at this part. But what about the part before? Now we're talking about the new generation. They don't walk into showrooms. They use configurators. And trust me, we work with 2 large companies in the car manufacturing where configurators can pretty much at the beginning deter you even to think about the brand. Ferrari learned, and together with AWS, you know who AWS is? Amazon? You know, the money machine, the cash machine of Amazon, really. Data, you know, big data. I don't know why people say big data, because data is neither big nor is it small, it's just data. That's all it is. So you use it in order to figure out, and they created a specialization platform where you can personalize every single part. I mean, if you're into cars, you might be. Check it out. 1 million possibilities. And that's very important. Let's look at another example. Omni-channel integration. We always look for what's called the seamless experience, meaning we jump from retail to e-commerce to social media. I want the same message. My information gets transferred from one to one. Because customer experience is based upon one thing, which we call the weakest link. So if the app doesn't work, it clearly influences how you think about this company. True? Trust me, yesterday night I tried to get in touch with my embassy because we didn't know what was happening. And they have this beautiful form that you need to fill out with a passport. And it was so user unfriendly that the first thing you find is a 5 pages PDF file. I'm sure you will have problems filling it out. I'm like, if you know, why don't you design it differently? So again, it's about how do you do it? Do you have all the channels in same? But sometimes you don't need to have all the channels. Do you know Chanel? I know the brand Chanel, don't you? They are very good at retail, physical retail. They are very good at social media, very good, especially for the young and upcoming generation. Really, forgive me, in Monaco, I do a lot of luxury companies and luxury research, so it comes natural to me. So when we talk about Chanel, they said, we are not very good at e-commerce, which is great because most luxury companies are not good at e-commerce. Let's be quite honest. But they were smart enough, they said, do we need to do it by ourselves? And they said, no, there's somebody who already does it and has all the resources and capabilities. Now you would think that a company who sells fast-moving consumer goods or a low-impact one would say, I work with somebody else. But Chanel understood, we will never get it right or perfect the way we want to. So they work with Farfetch, and Farfetch does it for them. And it's a perfect symbiosis. Now they say, you do e-commerce, you do it better than we ever do. Think about Google integration in cars, can beat them, join them. You know, same principle. You don't need to do it all by yourself. You need the people who are specialized in it and do it better than you. Outsourcing, cooperation, whatever you want to call it. So you can turn weaknesses into strengths. Before we said, we don't have e-commerce, but if we find the right partner, all of a sudden Chanel is considered the leading luxury e-commerce by making a good strategic move driven by realizing customers do need a better experience and somebody else does it better than we do. It's evolution versus revolution when we transform digitally. And Chanel does it so well. They now use social media as an engagement tool. You know, communicating, collecting data, and differentiating their content through the different channels. Sustainability. I was wondering, not a lot of sustainability talk, but it seems to be on everyone's mind. Why is sustainability important? Because it's more than a fad, it's a requirement. If you don't do it, you're out. But just doing it with short-term thinking is not going to work either, in particular for the new generation of consumers. They say, no, that won't work. So if you make it a strategic difference, this is a company we work for quite some while. They build super yachts, Rossinavi in Italy, in the Tuscany, beautiful company, great people. So what they set out to do, said, we're going to innovate it differently. And they were educating customers about the ocean. They said, in order for our products to be there, we need to take care of the ocean. See the difference abroad? Not we make it a little bit more sustainable. We're like, without the ocean, no super yachts. So yeah, they educate customers. It's almost like edutainment, you like mixture between education and entertainment. And they are inspired by nature. Have you ever heard of phytoplankton? Anybody knows what phytoplankton is? It's microorganism. This is the plankton that feeds the plankton. People will say, yeah, plankton, what's it all about? But this little thing feeds plankton, feeds small fishes, feeds larger fishes. So it's the center point of the entire ecosystem. And when it dies, it falls on the ocean floor for the bottom crawlers, lobsters and everything, right there. So it's perfectly, and they said, we're going to be careful, instead of just having boats, we're going to take care of the ocean, which increased brand value, loyalty, all the things that you want. You have to show more. You know, sustainability alone is not going to be enough. Next practice, now that's different. People always say, is it better to satisfy customer or is it better to delight customers? What do you think? Satisfaction? Anyone? Or delighting? You know, satisfaction is an equation. It's based upon what I expect and what I perceive. So in luxury, people always see our job is to exceed expectations. But if you raise expectations, the chances for you to fail become so much harder. Now think about, when was the last time you had a great experience in your mind? A really great experience. It's very hard to describe what's causing the experience, isn't it? I always say it's like a bird's nest. You need a piece from here, a piece from there. Difficult. Now I want you to think about the last time you had a bad experience. Much easier, huh? And you can be way more precise, you know, what it was, when it was, where it was, how you felt, and how you want to get it out of your system. So instead of looking at satisfaction, what you should do is take the pain away. Every psychologist will tell you, and my ex-wife is a psychologist, pain you feel significantly more than the positive things. So if we take the pain away, we will automatically satisfy you. But because it's the pain, you will feel it. Think about negative versus positive word of mouth. Positive word of mouth is normally friends and family talking about something. True? You don't talk with everybody about these things. So you reach an average of 3 clients. Now, negative word of mouth. You immediately are on social media and tell the world about it. So it's not verbal, it's written. For everyone who has a smartphone or access to the World Wide Web to read. For now, even for the foreseeable future, even after you're long gone. So the impact of negative word of mouth is 300. 3 versus 300. So in order to compensate for one bad experience, you have to deliver 100 great experience. So clearly, your job should be avoiding bad experience, because otherwise the numbers just don't come together. Make sense? A lot of people and a lot of companies always come in when they think about the customer. They have these surveys, the questionnaires, you know, satisfaction, overall experience. You probably get one after this, after the forum. How was it? How did you like it? And so on. And satisfaction never works for another reason. Because the company says, we believe this is why you choose us. Now tell me from A, B, and C, which one is the one that you're choosing? But our research always shows we need to explore first. Because most of the customers probably come back, you told me I have to choose between A, B, and C. And surprise, surprise, self-fulfilling prophecy, you get back, oh, they choose us because A, B, and C. Now when you talk to their clients, they would say, A, B, and C is interesting, but the stuff that really makes me choose you or not choose you is not even on there. This is what we call exploratory versus confirmatory. Does it make sense? So in terms of sustainability and sustainable practices, just doing it is not enough. That's a hygiene factor. It's not going to get you any kind of sustainable competitive advantage. You need to be bigger, you need to be better. You need to think social, causes that's for everyone. Social that are important to the web of our society, how we're woven together. These are the things that you're going to stand out, not saying, oh, we do a little bit of circular economy and we have recyclable bags. That's not going to cut it, in particular for the new generation. And my question is always, are you a vanguard? You know what a vanguard is? Well, if you want to know what a vanguard is, it's the companies who do customer experience the way we come together and decide the strategy. And you might say, so what? So what? They outperform others by 600%. So if you want to be 6 times more profitable than your competition, then you better look at this and you implement it. Because if you don't do it, you're just going to be like everyone else. And sooner or later, you will be gone. Well, on this positive note, 3 key takeaways. Customer experience is a marathon. It's not a sprint. No quick fixes will do it. What you need to understand that this is a long-term strategy. And remember, the customer experience overall is only as good as the weakest link. Does it make sense? Look at the chain. The weakest link, when it breaks, the chain is gone. Same thing here. You do. So decide in your mind carefully, should we add this? Remember the emperor? Just because everyone is doing it, you don't need to do it. Do you know lemmings? You know, like little rodents? And once a year, they all run to the cliff, and they do a mass suicide, and off they die. And I always say, want to be a lemming? Because everyone else is doing it? Don't do it. Remember, if you want to go to the source, you have to swim against stream. AI, I love technology. Don't get me started. Technology is great if we use it for the right purpose. But if we use AI just because it's a new tool in our toolbox, it's not gonna. We have to ask our clients, our customers, do you perceive the benefits? And if the answer is not a profound and sound yes, stay away from it. Because otherwise, you're just going to have the weakest link again, and there goes your profitability. So I hope we learned a little bit something today, and I thank you so very much for your attention. And remember, number one source of your profitability is the customer. Thank you.
네, 유익한 강연을 진행해 주신 필 클라우스 교수님 감사합니다. 네.